There is one consultancy. I cannot mention their name. They were
Okay.
charging 1 lakh rupees for Germany.
Ma-
I was like shocked. What is this 1 lakh rupees? What are you doing with it? The thing is, students are more dependent on a consultancy. So if you see the like, there are certain like I must say there are 10 universities which every consultant knows. Even if a student knows like these 10 universities are there and I should ask everyone to apply, he can start his own consultancy nowadays, because that's what they do. They just recommend you should apply here, you should apply here. But the thing is, Germany is a big pool and there are many unknown universities which you don't know but are actually good. And just because
Right.
these consultancies have publicized some X universities, everyone is applying there, and the cutoff list is going high and high each year. What happened with me was, in third year of my bachelor's, I was like, I should start studying for my like I should get my IELTS score or TOEFL score, whatever is required.
Mhm.
And so I went to a GRE class in my hometown, which is in Nasik. So I knew that classes focused more on USA than compared to Germany. After I went there, the owner of that center had a counseling session with me, I must say. And what happens with that is he influenced me to apply to USA and not focus on Germany. He was like, you will get an admit easily in USA, don't go to Germany. Even though if fees is more, you get to earn more, and what things and not. And it was like, I must say, he just replaced Germany in my mind with USA. And then I was like, okay, let's give GRE 2 times. First time I will just try whatever score it will be. The second time I will get a good score. And let's try for USA then, no problem in it. And in that influence, I registered for GRE. I gave GRE without preparing. Like I just prepared for
Okay.
1 or 2 months and I applied for the exam. I got a score of 303. Then afterwards, I realized USA is not my focus. I want to apply for Germany. Why am I doing all these things? Uh, because that was in my third year that I appeared for my GRE score,
Right.
GRE exam. Then last year, I was like, I'm not going to that person ever again. I started to research more about consultancies and what, like I came in touch with many consultancies from Nasik, Pune, and Mumbai as well. And it was
Okay.
like, okay, they were charging X amount of money. There is one consultancy. I cannot mention their name. They were
Okay.
charging 1 lakh rupees for Germany.
Ma-
I was like shocked. What is this 1 lakh rupees? What are you doing with it? Now, what they claimed behind that 1 lakh rupees is you will get an admission in any of the European countries for 100%. That's our responsibility. I'm like, okay. And what will you do with 1 lakh rupees then? They were like, we will apply for 15 different colleges. And from those 15, we are sure that you will get any one. We can give that as like
Assurance.
so I was like confused. Come on, and 1 lakh plus 18% GST. So the total was 1 lakh, 1 lakh 18,000. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So I went to him once. I was like confused. What is this? Is this a market or like you? It is like you are going into a mall and visiting different shops. One will say we will charge 1 lakh. The other one will say we will charge 80,000. The third one was like you pay me for per application, like for per university you apply, you pay me 5,000. I'm like, sorry, I cannot do that. Afterwards, what happened? I decided not I decided to apply during my last year. I applied to Germany, but I received only one admit, which was from SRH Heidelberg. It was a paid university, and I think the fees is around 16 lakhs for 2 years, plus the living
Yeah.
cost X amount. Then I decided like, no, I won't go to a private university. I will either go to a public university or I won't go. And did my job there for 1 year, and then again applied. Then I received admits from Harvey Hamburg, HTW Berlin. Then there was Rosenheim. and Ostfalia,
Okay.
which is the Südwestfalen University. I think there was
Okay.
one more, Hof University, HOF.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So you
these
got
were the
5
admits
admits.
which I received. Now it was again I had an option either to go to
Mm-hmm.
Rosenheim, come to Haave, or go to Ostfalia, because other two I did not like. I preferred these three more than compared to other two.
Right.
During our term, what happened with Rosenheim was we were told you cannot. So basically, you get an admit for engineering sciences department there in Rosenheim, and after getting an admit, you can decide to choose which stream you want to take. But for during our
Mm-hmm.
admits, they told us that you can only take E and electrical and IT as a major
Yeah.
focus subject.
Major.
We were like, I am a mechanical student. How can I not go for mechanical engineering and go for E and electronics and IT? So
Right.
that was a public university, and Rosenheim
Right.
is a beautiful place to stay. If you see, it is like
Right.
covered with snow always. And the second is Ostfalia. If you consider Ostfalia or Südwestfalen, I must say that university has ASTP, Automobile Service Technology, I think.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it
I've
is
made a video on that course. Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So that is also a good course, and you get an option of like I must say 100% job placement, because they are just 25 to 30 students which get selected every year. And but as I wanted to opt for renewable energy, I waited, and when I got this admit the next day, I was like, I am going there.
So yeah, you chose the best option and the option of your liking, that which you were inclined to. So I think it's good. So in this course, this GRE, is it mandatory or you give it just to build up your profile?
I don't know whether it is mandatory or not, because I don't know how they select the applicants. But
Okay.
for me, I gave it my colleagues, like the students from India who are there with me, also like they appeared for GRE and they have submitted their score. I don't know exactly, but I can say what they like. How they grade here is you need work experience in that particular stream. So suppose you are applying for renewable energy system, you have certain points for if you have work experience in related to renewable energy or energy field, you get X points for that. Then your score has some points. So whatever your score, depending upon that, you will get those points. Then there is also one for, I think, your letter of motivation, which you submit.
Motivation.
There is score for that. So that is how they calculate and they finalize whom we should give priority and whom not.
A detailed assessment is followed. And for this IELTS, what was your score and what was the threshold for the university?
So I scored 7.5 in IELTS, and I think 6 and above was required for the university.
Okay. As if I'll mention your course description in the YouTube link, but also like if students can see that in more detail from your university link, right? Because you have now like this is 2020 and you started in 2019, so there may be changes in the the course requirements and all. So yeah,
there may be changes in course requirements, but if you see the course structure, what syllabus it is there, ours was the first batch with the new curriculum or new study regulations. So as in India we have different schemes or different patterns which change at regular intervals. Here they call them as study regulations. So with a change in study regulations, there is a change in CPs of different subjects. New subjects get added, old subjects get replaced. So this is what happens when there is a change in study regulation. So ours was the batch with the new study regulation and it has been implemented here. So I think I have sent you the course link, or I will send you where you can find the detail of all the subjects taught here.
Is there any mandatory internship in your course module which you are studying at your university?
There is no mandatory internship. But the thing is, you can opt for a internship if you want to. But the only thing is, the difference between an optional internship and mandatory internship is, on an optional internship, you have to pay the taxes from what you earn, and from a mandatory internship, you don't have to. So if you have 180 credits and your course coordinator tells you that you need a mandatory internship, then in that case, then you have it. But in my course, it is of 3 semesters. So in 3 semesters, according to the rule, you finish 30 credits first semester, 30 credits in the second semester, and then you are only left with the master thesis, which is of 30 credits. And you earn your 90 credits that way. 210 plus 90, 300. But usually what happens is students don't complete their subjects in 3 semesters because so in first semester, maybe you will complete 15 or 20 credits. On the second semester, you will again complete 15 or 20 credits. Then in third semester, you complete the remaining credits and you search for a master thesis as well. And then when you get a master thesis in a company, I must mention, people like students do their thesis in university. But what the drawback is, there is a problem while getting a job. So what I think and what many of my friends think is you should always do a master thesis in a company if you are if you are doing your masters in applied science university. This helps you to get a job in that company. The chances of you getting placed there also increases, and that's the reason why students extend their masters. So instead of 3 semesters, they will do it in 6 semesters, 7 semesters, because no one wants to give away their student status before getting a job, I must say.
Right. Because then if we give out that student status, then we are at a deadline that we have to find job in 18 months. And that is quite stressful. So I think this one is a good hack. Yeah, right?
But I would say it's not a hack actually. Now there are, according to study regulations, suppose my course is of 3 semesters. So my 3 semesters will be the regular semesters, which are the regular semesters, what we call. Anything you extend beyond it, you cannot apply for a scholarship, I must say. But you get all the benefits of being a student here. And the law here, according to law here, you can do your master thesis. So the tenure for completing master thesis is whenever there is a change in study regulation. So for my batch, for the batch previous than mine, for them during my batch there was change in study regulations. So now they have more 3 semesters, or I think more 3 years to complete their masters. It's more 3 semesters, not years. So after there is change in study regulation, after that you get the number of regular semesters you need to complete, and then before that you have to finish your masters. So that is what is done. And I must also mention that it's not the 18 months which you are more worried of. It's the expenses which are increased if you give up your student status. So if you give up your student status, the next thing is, first of all, you need to show your money of 18 months to get your visa extended for 18 months. So that is the first thing. Second thing is, with your semester ticket, you get your transportation card. So like that semester ticket you can use to go anywhere around. And that costs you around, as I mentioned, for our university is 336 euros, including the fees, semester ticket, everything for 6 months. But if you go and get the same card from the local transport authority, I think in Hamburg it is around 80 to 120 euros per month to get the same.
So card. After the student status.
Yeah, that is the expense which gets added. The next thing is bank account. So if you open a bank account here and you are not a student, and you open any bank account in banks like Hamburger Sparkasse or Deutsche Bank, you need to pay a maintenance fee of around 5 to 7 euros per month just for having an account opened there. So that is what the charge gets added to it. Then there are more things like when you are a student, you get concessions in anything. Like even if you go to watch a movie, as a student, you you can pay 1 or 2 euros less than compared to the normal ticket. So there are savings hidden everywhere, and the benefits which you get for being a student. So usually
these things were completely new to me. I didn't know, and I think most of the audience, they also don't know this thing. So continue. I mean, this is an interesting topic.
Also, being a student, you get your student email ID. from the university. So your university has access to many of the journals and research papers. Using that email ID, you can download anything from those subscribed journals. Also, there are different licenses. Like for our university, you get a license of Office 365. So with my email ID, I have all the Office related stuff free to use. But that's only till the point I am a student.
Hitesh, the next thing is we'll come towards the German language. So when you were in India, how many levels of German language you studied, and what was the requirement for the German language in your particular university?
So there are two different things. What you study and which exam you appear for and clear. So if we consider, for me, I studied till B1, but I appeared for exam of A2. I passed it. I have that certificate. For my university, A2 was required because they say the labs in my university have German language, MS Office and other softwares are in German language. So you need at least A2 to get used to that. So that's the only reason why my university has an like a standard of A2 required here. But I must also focus on one point. What you do in India is very different than what the local language here is. I'm not saying that you won't understand totally, but to come here and then speak with the people, it's pretty challenging even if you have B1 in India. You need to come here, you need to experience these things. I would say German language is way more important than what you think it is. Basically,
extremely true.
Let me give an example from recent days. On Sunday, I just went to a trip to Cuxhaven, which is a place in Germany, northern part. So it is a beach area. If you are a local and going there, you need to pay a fees of €3 per person to just enter into the beach. We had one of our guy, my roommate. He is he's fluent in German. He came to Berlin to a language school and then learned German language. He is done with his C1 and he is pursuing masters in the same university, but his masters is in product development, I think so. So, but he is learning that in German language. So his German is way more fluent than what we all can speak. So we just asked him go and ask that person why is the fees and just talk to him. So he just went and he told, we are students from Hamburg. We are here to just on a trip and we will be doing. He was like, you are the person on the booth. He said people from, he was fascinated that this guy can speak so good German. He was so impressed that he said, you are our guest and we love people from Hamburg and you don't need to pay any entry charge. And I think we will 5 to 6 people and we didn't have to pay a single penny to him. So this is just a recent example what happened. Yeah. When you know German language, the job opportunities which you get are way more, I must say. So in renewable energy systems, even though the companies like Siemens and Nordex have the working culture in English language, but the people who work here, they prioritize someone who knows German language more than compared to you, because obviously he can speak German language and he will get familiar with his colleague way easily. So German language is very important thing here. I must mention that. And you should focus as much possible on German language and get in flow with it.
I mean, what should be your suggestion? People should focus more on speaking skills rather than learning the theoretical stuff, or it should be a combination of both, according to your experience?
When your course has a standard, suppose my course has you need at least A2 certificate. Some courses have you need at least B1 certificate. Even they have English, they are English taught courses. So why that is, while studying for an exam, you should more focus on the tips and tricks which you need to pass those exams. Because even if you don't know German fully, there are simple things which you can learn and crack that exam easily. And what you need at that point is just cracking that exam. When you are done with that basic thing, you should more focus on speaking. You should get in touch with German people and start to converse with them. you should, like, what usually they do here is they have some tandem programs. So what tandem programs is
Okay.
language exchange. So basically, students from different nations come here. So your partner will teach you English, and you could teach him. Your partner could teach you German, and you could
Yeah.
teach him English, for example.
English.
Or you can, yeah. He could teach you Spanish, and you could teach him any of your local languages. It depends. So these programs are also helpful. Also, I would suggest whenever you have German friends in your course, try to listen to them what they speak. Because as in India, India is a big country, as we know. At different parts of India, the same language is spoken with using different phrases or different words. The same
Yeah,
is in
dialect.
Germany. Yeah. So in Germany also, the German spoken in the southern region is different than what is spoken in the Nordic region, for example. So there are some basic terms which you need to get used to. They may be very simple, but you won't understand them at the first glance because you have never read them in your textbook. So when you listen to conversation, when you try to speak up in German language, that is when you improve your.
What is the final advice or suggestion you would give to the aspiring students who wish to start their studies in Germany?
I would say come to Germany. It's very friendly country. You will get to experience new things here. The only thing is learn German before you come here. Or even if you come here, you should start with a German language course and focus on the language basically. That helps you a lot. Rest everything is like it's the same as different masters. The only thing is you need to pay less for what you get from here. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think the session was great because most of the doubts were cleared. And Hitesh, thank you. Thanks a lot for coming on the channel and giving your precious time. I think we have talked with Hitesh with more than 1 hour, 30 minutes because, see, this amount of time, it's very precious when you are studying in Germany because you have to manage your cooking, laundry, other things. And apart from all this, I mean, hurdles, Hitesh has given us 1 hour, 30 minutes. So, guys, just imagine how much uh, amount of time Hitesh has given for you all. So, definitely you should watch this video. And I think this will definitely help you out. So, Hitesh, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Chalo. Thank you.